say, yeah, it puts a lot of power in one person, and you know, they can, oh, maybe it might be the Koala this year that doesn't get funding, and it might be, oh, the California Review just because it's a conservative newspaper not get funding next year. You know, I can definitely see the slippery slope of it. But maybe I'm just an optimist because I have faith in our elected officials that we will act with our principles of the community. That's what it's based on, in our principles of the community. And then so, and also I feel like everyone just keeps bringing up the same points over and over again, and this is how we waste time in AS. So I'd like to ask a straw poll. And A, you're ready to vote. B, you're not ready to vote. So A, you're ready to vote. Please raise your hand. B, you're not ready to vote. All right, I pass.
Second.
All right, all in favor of closing the speakers list, please raise your hand. All opposed? That fails. Rishi?
So, a few things. First of all, I want to acknowledge, I want the council to kind of consider my viewpoint on this and acknowledge that it's more complicated than just negative or like adverse action against the koala. I support tremendously the right of all of our student publications to get funded. I'm going to suggest that we kind of start looking at this in a slightly different way. And council, please think about this as I'm talking about this, because as I'm thinking about this, I see tremendous potential, because this can operate on top, and this is just a suggestion, an idea. This can operate on top of our existing media funding guidelines and not replace it. So think about that for a second. What we can do is we can have media funding guidelines. All media organizations get funded the way they currently do, right? But if we pass this tonight, what we have on top of that is the right for this council to, in a time when certain media organizations are violating the principle of community, this council can supplement, can reward those media organizations which aren't. So think of it, which aren't. Which aren't violating the principles of community. So I'm proposing that if there's language in this legislation that removes it, that kind of makes it like not compatible with our existing funding system, then let's amend that and consider that as a separate item, because I think there's tremendous potential in giving this council the power to vote with their dollar, but still fund all media organizations. So, hypothetical example, Koala comes out with super racist shit, as they always do, and BSU wants to do a paper the same week, which is a separate issue of like weekly publication, but like BSU wants to do a same paper, same week. AS decides to put its advertising money in the BSU publication and help that publication surpass what it would be able to do normally. So, on top of an additional system to augment what exists.
Jonathan Bella?
Okay, so real quick, there's these arguments that keep getting thrown around about like legal counsel. Some legal counsel says one thing, the other says the other thing. First off, Dan Park wasn't at any of our meetings. I mean, of the committee's meetings. If we had actually heard these words about his mouth, yeah, then maybe it would be a little bit more definitive, but he's never told anything to us except for the Senate meeting. Never told any of these particulars to us as the committee. Whereas the ACLU, he has also said the exact same, has told us the exact opposite of what the UC lawyers are telling us. So, no, it's not clear. It is legally very ambiguous. All the other remainder of my time to Dr. Driscoll.
Hi, I'm Tom, Doctor of Philosophy and Physics. And as members of the council, you will hear some members throw around legal arguments that Peter will tell you, this is legal. It's legal, don't worry about it. Gustav will say the same. I do not believe, personally, that either of them have spent as much time reading the case law as I have. And I believe that their lawyers are no better than my lawyers. So, I will not make a legal argument. I did not earlier, I will not now. As members of the council, do not take their word. for the legality of these. It will be challenged. This is a slippery slope. We can all read 2 lines of the First Amendment and say, oh, that's obvious. Rights are not won and lost by Bill of Rights. They are won and lost on a very narrow line in case law by precedent. And this will be won. If this model goes through for the first time in history, in a semi-legal, semi-public forum of University of California, it will not be only here. It will be UCLA, it will be Berkeley, it will be Santa Cruz, it will be every place. It wants to emulate this. The administration would love this. So consider that your rights are not about reading 1 line of the First Amendment, but they're about understanding that if they can push this through, even perhaps with the best of intentions, I don't know these men personally, perhaps they really believe in what they want, but you give them too much power. And in precedent from tomorrow and then on out, you have to wonder, how will this be interpreted? So do not take their word for the legality. Assume that they tell you only the story they want you to hear. And assume that there are those with very upstanding academic qualifications that would tell you otherwise. So please, as counsel, don't take my word when I tell you this will be illegal. But don't take their word when they will tell you it is legal. Take no one's word and vote on your conscience of will this have ramifications that might be negative in the future. Thank you.
For information, we didn't suspend rules, so members of the public can get on the list. Yeah. So if you want that.
Go to the front.
Brian, we did, so you can raise your hand.
Oh yeah, just leave it high so they can see it.
Brian, did you want to speak? Yeah. Could you please tell me where we are? We're discussing the same legislation as before. Okay. Is there someone out from the speakers list? There are 8 people.
Make sure it's really high so they can mark it down.
Can I go off the next one? Sure. Irfan?
It's all for the public now.
I guess I want to address the argument that, you know, again, this is legally shaky ground, that we should all be very, very scared because there's not a definitive ruling on this. I'll agree, there's no definitive ruling. This exact case, this exact scenario has never been brought to the Supreme Court, and they have never made a definitive ruling on it. We can all speculate as to what that ruling would be, but in all honesty, none of us absolutely know. Now, if you want to be scared to act because you think you might get sued and lose, you can really never act. Like the Sun God Festival. We allocate a ton of money to that, and if someone dies, we're going to get sued. So, what, are we not going to do Sun God Festival? Oh, how about the fact that, you know, when we actually advertise in media organizations, it's very possible that the family members of deceased undergraduates at this university could have both sued one of the publications that made fun of their deceased son and the Associated Students for funding them. Does that mean they're going to win? Well, I don't know. But again, if you're scared of getting sued, then you can never do anything. If there's a definitive reason why you should not act, it's clear, it's present, you see the Supreme Court case, it's the exact same scenario, then of course don't do that, don't break the law intentionally. But there's no clear precedent here, either way. So if you're really going to use that argument to say don't act, well then let's reconsider a lot of things we do, honestly, like right now. Again, people are failing to actually address the merits of this argument. They just keep saying, putting, you know, it's just leaving open the door for an evil counsel, which everything does. The majority vote, you can change every rule in our standing rules. It's saying, oh, this is what the administrators want. That's what they want. That's that. I'm the one who came up with this idea. I was sitting next to Angela and Anne's counsel when I thought this was a good idea. This is my idea. Don't let them like try to pretend that this is administrators, but they're handing it from students. At that, Angela can attest to the fact this is my effing idea. Regardless, this isn't about me. Really, this, like I alluded to, this is a much larger movement that y'all probably don't even understand right now. Again, the UC